I'm going to call to order this city council meeting for March 24th, 2026. Let's stand up and rise for the invocation, the Pledge of Allegiance, led by Councilmember Kent McKinney.
Okay, pray with me, please. Heavenly Father, thanks for many blessings that we enjoy here in our community of Kerrville, Texas. Thanks for the extreme dedication and perseverance of the state of Texas in continuing their search efforts following our flood. Thanks also to all the nonprofits that are helping us in the recovery, and especially to both the Kerr Together and the Community Foundation of the Texas Hill Country that are coordinating a lot of those efforts. Please guide those that are suffering from grief, not only from the flood, but for other reasons, because things do seem to pile up at times. Please guide us, the city staff and the council, in doing your work, and especially now with the war going on in the Middle East, guide the world leaders. Maybe we could come to a better lasting peace in the Middle East. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands,
One
one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Kent. Now for announcements of community interest. Ms. Stutz.
Good evening, Council. Yes, we have a few announcements this evening, and we'll start with some recent events at the Kerrville Shriner Park put on by our amazing staff within our City Parks and Recreation Department. We recently held our first Movies in the Park and our first Concerts by the River event. Both were smashing successes with over 75 to 100 or so participants in the Movies in the Park. They were showing Inside Out, #2. If you haven't seen it, it's all about your emotions. So it's very cute, fun for the whole family. And Concerts by the River had about 60 participants. So very great turnout for our first two events of the year. Additional Parks and Rec news: Hillside Park will be closed March 27th through 30th. This is for a statewide mountain bike race that will be hosted by Kerrville Shriner Park March 27th through 29th for the youth mountain bike statewide race. And then on the left-hand side, you'll see that we're also hosting a scholarship golf tournament as part of the Trophy Game Records. So they are presenting a scholarship. They are presenting a scholarship tournament that will take place at our Shriner Golf Course this weekend as well. Additionally, this weekend we have a disc golf tournament that will start at 9:30 a.m. is check-in, 10 a.m. is start time, and our registration deadline is just a couple of days away. So if you are interested, now is the time to sign up. Also upcoming for the kids is skateboard competition that will be in Singing Wind Skate Park on Saturday, April 11th. In Kerrville Pet News, we have, I think, Brenda right there in the middle, you can see. Kerr County Animal Control had some major news this weekend, opening their Kerr County Animal Control new headquarters, and they held their ribbon cutting, so we just wanted to celebrate that at 199 Spur 100, Kerrville, Texas. And also call out some very important dates, including the 2026 Kerr County Rabies Vaccination Drive. And this is very important. If those of you haven't heard, we did have our first case of rabies of the year in Kerr County, and this is just extremely important for getting all of our pets vaccinated. This is very low cost at $12 a vaccine. You can go 3 different locations on that first April 11th date. And then after that, from April 11th through 25th, there are multiple participating local vet clinics where you can continue to get the $12 vaccines until they're run out. This month is also March for Meals. We have another council member present in these photos. Councilmember McKinney was present on Monday for March for Meals on Wheels program that our Theater Center hosts. And as you can see, these lovely volunteers are just amazing people who help make sure that our community continues to be cared for, even when they're homebound, even when they can't get out of the house. If our teens are looking for something to get involved with, I hear we have about half a dozen or so applications, and we're looking for a dozen or more to fulfill our 2026-2027 teen court. What that is teens get to be part of the entire process and helping to adjudicate and make decisions for other teens and learn about the court system and the court process. They can be part of a jury, they can be part of the attorney teams, and it's also a very great learning experience plus volunteer hours. So, upcoming for April at Butt Holdsworth Municipal Library, we have multiple different great events. And just want to call out that their book clubs, they have about 10 book clubs that are just going strong. And they have so many because so many people are participating. So just wanted to call that out as something that is extremely successful across our different library groups. Oh, and of course, our public safety facility open house. The media and our public are cordially invited to come to our open house on April 2nd from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. The doors will be open. We'll have a quick ceremony with a ribbon cutting and do some special fire and police razzle-dazzles, and then a quick tour. Other announcements. On the left-hand side and the right-hand side, we have some road closures, one in Ingram, Texas, but it's State Highway 27, so it kind of seemed pretty important to share with everyone. March 30th and March 31st, next Monday and Tuesday. And tomorrow, March 25th, all day, we will be painting the streets again so that we fulfill our sidewalk obligations with the state of Texas. In the middle there, the G Street pedestrian bridge, though, is wide open for business. So we are very excited that one is back in season. And that's it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any council member have a community interest?
I do.
Go ahead, please.
BCFS is having their Connections in Bloom Festival. It's a family fun-filled event. It's free. It's out at the Hill Country Youth Event Center on Saturday, the 28th, from 11 to 4 p.m. They'll have a salsa competition, carnival games, bounce houses, a dunking booth with surprise guests. And you just need to come out and learn about their resources here in the community. And for more information, just contact Waverly Jones. Her number is 210-480-5895, or 5894, I'm sorry. Or you can email her at wj6249@bcfs.net.
Thank you.
No?
Go ahead, please.
Couple of things. Crystal, you talked about getting the streets repainted. So Clay Street at Water Street was done today. And there's also some new additions to the intersection there with some overhead lights that were strung. Looks very nice. But Thursday from 12 until 2 at Schreiner University is Special Olympics Unified Field Day from 12 o'clock until 2 o'clock this coming Thursday at the CCAC lawn. So if you'll have a chance to run by there, show some support to the university and our Special Olympians that are going to be there participating. So.
Yes, I'll just say again, May 16th, the Smithsonian Institute exhibit comes to town for 6 weeks. This will be at the KACC. It's free to the public, and it comes all the way from Washington and allows us to have a part in this exhibit, which is it's called the Spark, a Place of Innovation, is what we've been deemed, a place of innovation. So we get to be part of it. And it's going to be real exciting, May 16th at the KACC, and then the Water Street Festival will happen again October 24th of this year, 2026. Thank you.
I think we'd be amiss if we didn't mention this, Mayor.
I think she
I
may
think
be
she's gonna
speaking.
She's going to speak about
Yeah,
it.
Mhm.
Okay.
I think,
All right.
hope so.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, let's move on to 2A, Chief Maloney.
Well, that's good news, because I didn't see him outside. So, otherwise, it'd be awkward for the next few minutes.
I'll hear this would be.
All right, so, Mayor and Council, tonight I have the honor of recognizing our EMS Person of the Year and our Officer of the Year that were recognized at our award ceremony for their outstanding merits and achievements in 2025. And so I will start with the EMS Person of the Year, Bart Bartlett, if you'll come on up front.
One up front.
Bart joined Kerrville Fire Department in January 2019, earned his basic structure firefighter in 2019, intermediate firefighter in 2024, and recently promoted to EMS supervisor in January 2025. He earned a paramedic certification in 2001 and is currently a field training officer. Bart Bartlett serves as the EMS supervisor for B Shift. He takes tremendous pride in both his role and the people he serves. He genuinely cares about our medics, offering guidance, support, and advocacy whenever it's needed. Time and again, the medics at B Shift have relied on Bart for steady, non-judgmental leadership that he has never let them down. Bart has navigated his responsibilities through periods of staffing transition, also often balancing the demands of riding Med 1 while fulfilling the expectations of his supervisory role. He meets these challenges with consistency and professionalism, ensuring that both patient care and team operations remain strong. Beyond clinical oversight, Bart is deeply invested in the mental health and well-being of our members. He takes the time to mentor and support his colleagues through personal and professional challenges, demonstrating compassion, understanding, and steady leadership. His influence goes far beyond operations. It shapes the culture of B Shift and strengthens our team as a whole. Bart is focused and dedicated to advancing our EMS program. He manages supplies, maintains medication inventories, troubleshoots operational challenges, and supports personnel with patience and professionalism. In every interaction, he embodies a high standard of patient care rooted in safety, advocacy, and excellence. These are just a few of Bart Bartlett's outstanding performance and merit that earned him the 2025 EMS Person of the Year.
Of course. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you for all you do. Thanks again.
Next, I have the honor of recognizing Officer of the Year, Battalion Chief Jaron Floyd. Jaron Floyd joined Kerrville Fire Department in June 2012, promoted to driver in 2015, lieutenant in 2021, and battalion chief in February 2025. He's a licensed paramedic, master structure firefighter, Fire Officer 2, Fire Instructor 2, and Basic Fire Investigator. He earned an associate's degree and currently enrolled at Texas A&M bachelor's degree program. He serves on the technical rescue team and is team leader for the Kerrville Fire Department deployments with the Emergency Medical Task Force across the state. Tonight, we honor Officer of the Year, someone whose leadership was tested like never before in our department's history. On the night of July 4th flood, Battalion Chief Darren Floyd received the first call from dispatch, marking the start of an incident that quickly became a historical disaster for our community. Throughout the night, Chief Floyd led with poise, focus, and unwavering purpose. Faced with overwhelming conditions and limited resources, he strategically directed units, prioritized critical operations, and maintained a command presence amidst the chaos. He mobilized a technical rescue team and managed a coordinated fire department's response to rescue and evacuate people along Guadalupe River and G Street, Rio Robles, and the waterfront. His decisions brought structure to uncertainty and stability during an incredibly difficult situation, undoubtedly saving lives and protecting property. In one of our department's darkest moments, Battalion Chief Darren Floyd provided clarity, confidence, and decisive leadership. These are just a few of Darren Floyd's outstanding leadership values that earned him the 2025 Officer of the Year.
Thank you.
Item 2B, Ms. Cardenas. You can either use the lectern or the microphone, whichever is most comfortable for you.
Does work. Howdy, I'm Ray Cardenas. I'm here with the Doyle Community Center to give our, well, it says 2026 because that's the year we're going into, but it's our 2025 progress update for the city of Kerrville, one of our beloved partners. So the Doyle Community Center's vision is still a place where needs are met, lives are enriched, and potential is achieved. Our mission and focus is uniting people and resources to provide quality services that are accessible to the Doyle community, the people of Kerrville, and of Kerr County. To help further our mission, we've always planned and used 3 key goals to keep in the forefront of all of our planning and executing of future events and programs, which is community, health, and education. And everything that we do usually hits on 2 points, if not all 3. So we're always thinking about community engagement, the impact and the output that our programs have on the people that we serve. Some of our weekly services and program is our food pantry. Our food pantry operates every Wednesday from 11 to 1 p.m. It is small and growing. We still serve about 243 households a month. We have implemented a new service where once a month we do what we call a shopping day. So traditionally through the week or through the month, we do pre-made boxes. Some are for homebound residents that are delivered, and some are for walk-ins that come in and get their groceries serviced. But once a month, either in the beginning or the end of the month, kind of depends on our delivery schedule, we do a shopping day where we just put a set of items for food and non-food items, and those that come in can come shop and get exactly what they need. And we've been able to grow this program through the help of community partners, local banks, school districts, and other local organizations that help do monthly food drives. We've also teamed up with Mercy Chefs to provide hot meals on these Wednesdays. So anybody can come get a hot meal from 11 to 1. And when we pick up food from Mercy Chefs, we get 100 people's worth of food. So we always get that out to the people. Anybody can stop by for food. For our food pantry, it's small and growing, so our focus is the Doyle community, but nobody is turned away empty-handed. Anybody that comes through the door is still serviced, but we also extend our resources either through our resource packet, or we also use the Kerrville Senior Citizen Guide that has a lot of valuable resources on different food assistance programs and availability in our county. We also have our transportation service, still small and limited to the Doyle neighborhood, but we always connect people with our partners, Kerr Connect. We walk people through the Art Bus and the new Pronto Go Art Bus app. But our transportation schedule is for essential needs, so we get people to and from doctor's appointments, grocery store visits, the bank, physical therapy, and the grocery store and the pharmacy as well. And so last year, we had 230 scheduled appointments, and we successfully had 202 trips of those appointments. We're always trying to make sure that everybody's getting to point A to B and that their needs in healthcare is accessible, and we don't want transportation to be an issue. We also have an emergency medical and dental application by appointment. People can come in and get emergency medical and dental needs. It also includes, on a case-by-case basis, like prescription medication help, medical equipment help. We also work with the Dieter Center and some other community partners that have medical equipment to make sure that those individuals are getting served, but we still also help. We also help with eye exams and eyeglasses, and we partner up with Vision Source. We get vouchers and we give those out to the community as often as we get them, making sure that everybody can see. So our monthly staples are still Senior Lunch and Bingo. That program is going strong. We still serve about 35 to 40 people a month. We have a music for that first hour, and we have bingo for that next hour. It's every second Friday from 12 to 2. And when we have community partners that reach out, we do have guest speakers. So we've had ACOG come in and talk about different services. We've had PNC Bank and other banks talk about, some of the programs that they have going on and specials, but also some of the fraud things that are happening and that they're seeing. And usually around open enrollment, we have licensed Medicare and Medicaid agents come to talk about some of the changes and go over any questions that somebody may have. So we're always trying to build and enrich some of our programs and also keep things fun and keep those staples going. We still do citizenship every Thursday from 6 to 7:30. We also have our English as a second language every Tuesday, beginners courses from 4 to 5. Intermediate from 5 to 6. It's going on right now, or I think it should be over. And our after school lounge, we launched it last year, and it was Monday through Thursday, and we were seeing about 4 to 6 K through 5th graders and 4 middle schoolers. This year we have expanded to include Friday, and we see more 11 to 13 K through 5th graders, still 4 middle schoolers and 1 high schooler. So that program is growing. We still partner with the Meaningful Works Department with the Schreiner University to help provide a work study for future teachers and child psychologists to help us staff, and then also they get some good work experience. We still have our legal kiosk through Texas Legal Service Center, and the kiosk is like a legal Google. You can go to this computer, ask questions, get forms, and get general information from it. And you can also schedule a free 30-minute consult with a rural attorney. It's every second Thursday of the month. And one of our newest developments is we have a new partnership and tenant within the building. It is Texas Rio Grande Legal Aid. So there's a paralegal that is in our office. They work separately, autonomously, but we do coordinate together information if people have come and they're with a client or they're out of the office. But they have been a great resource to our community. They put on a FEMA appeal clinic to help those in Kerr County navigate some of those paperwork and different questions that were going on during the disaster relief recovery center. After that was closed, they kind of moved on to our building to still provide assistance. And last week, they just finished up their wills, estate, guardianship, and medical directive clinic. And so that was a really big success. They had 35 people come in for assistance and 4 walk-ins as well, or 35 scheduled appointments and 4 walk-ins. So they've been a really great help to our community. And they used to be in Kerrville downtown, but we're really honored to have them in our building. They've been very gracious on just supporting our community with general questions and also just legal advice as things happen. Our programs that we do throughout the year, we always have different heritage and historical programs throughout the year. We have our Martin Luther King program, our Black History Month celebrations throughout the month of February that we just finished up. We also do Hispanic Heritage Month, September 15th through October 15th, and we celebrate DAC SACE. We have our high school graduation celebration, our annual Pleasure Garden Blues Fest, National Night Out, and so many more others. For our graduation celebration, we kind of did things a little bit different this year. We invited our seniors out earlier to talk about graduation. We had a taco dinner. And we also used that opportunity to invite our newest partner, Miss Ladina Odom, with the Center of Talent and Workforce Development Department of Schreiner University. And they're offering a number of certificates and programs for those that just aren't sure that the traditional college is for them. And so they do banking certificates, realtor licensing, viticulture is one of their newest programs, and many more. And so they've been a great addition to not just the center, because we have their information for anybody that is wishing to or looking to continue their education or add on, but they've been a great resource for our seniors that just don't know exactly what they're doing yet. They just know that they want to be done at the end of May. But everything that we do, we couldn't do without our partners. We have several partners that help us serve our community. ACOG has been a really great partner for us these last few years. We've been helping getting people set up, like I had mentioned earlier, with the new art bus system. We also teamed up with them in the winter for the Warm Hearts, Warm Homes initiative to make sure people had heaters through some of those cold spells we got. They were actually also here last week. They were doing an intake clinic for minor home repairs and income assistance support. So we've been doing a lot of great things with ACOG, also with K-Star. We've just finished our spring break camp last week, and we're already scheduling our summer camps with them as well. And everything that we do and we can't do, we always make sure that nobody leaves our building without the information they need, which is why we partner with so many people. This list is not even the full list. We have many more partners, but it's just so when people come in, they're not turned away still empty-handed or still wondering how they can get the help that they need. We make sure that we have as many partners in the city of Kerrville and Kerr County to help facilitate and meet the needs of anybody walking through our building. And thank you. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for all you're doing. Any questions or comments?
Way to go. Good job.
Thank you so much.
Doing an awful lot. Great.
Trying.
Thanks
Good
for-
report. Good
Thank you.
report.
We have a garage sale on Saturday if anybody wants to come find some treasures.
Thank you.
8 to 1.
At the pavilion?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Thank you. Thank y'all for being here. Next is 3A, Ms. Behrens.
Mine's not near as much fun, just letting y'all know. So we're happy to say we put our audit to bed, finished our annual comprehensive financial report. That is quite a long report. It is posted online, but I will also say we will have our condensed version out by the end of the month. So we'll be putting that out online as well as have printed copies here, both at the meeting but in the lobby as well for anybody who wants to get the information but maybe not have to go through the 100 and something page report.
170 pages.
170, is that what it was?
I think 172.
It's a lot. It's a lot. So but a lot of good information in there. And so I have with me Josh Finley, who's the director for our audit team, Formis Mazars, who you guys have seen and heard over the past few years. And so Josh took over our case this year after Kevin retired. And so new face to you guys, but very competent and has been a good guide for us through this process. And so I'm going to let him talk you through highlights of our audit, a little condensed version of what's important in the financial report, and then if anyone needs to talk through any of those financials or understand how things are grouped and those things, get with me and we can set up some time and I'll help you get through it. So with that, I'll give you Josh.
Thank you. All right, Mayor, Council, thank you all for having me. Like Julie said, my name is Josh Finley. I was the lead audit engagement executive for your fiscal year 2025 audit financials. That is 9/30/2025, so coming up on 6 months. But like she said, we wrapped up last week, so we were super excited to put it to bed. I know the report is very, very long, but just I'll go through a couple highlights of things that I think are important for you all to read, and I have a brief agenda here. This is a little bit about our firm. She said, well, I'm with Forvis Mazars. We used to be BKD. I know you all might remember Kevin Kemp. He was the old partner on the engagement, and then I took it over when he retired this past year. We've gone through a bunch of mergers and acquisitions over the past few years, so it's still the same group. All we do is governmental auditing all year round. We just have a new face and a new color and a new name now. But we're a top 10 firm. We're all over the globe actually now. So we've kind of expanded overnight, but like I said, it's still your local team. We primarily focus on Texas. My group does. Here's a brief agenda of what I'm going to go over tonight. I'll first dive in with the audit scope and results, which is the most important part that you all want to hear. I have a few required communications that as the external auditor, I'm required to report to those charged with governance, which is city council for the city. It can't be an audit or accounting presentation if I don't go over future accounting pronouncements, so I apologize in advance for that. But I do think it's important for you all to know what's coming down the pipeline that GASB has in store, new audit laws and regulations that me and the team will be implementing over the next few years. And then I have a few financial highlights that I think are important that I would want to look at anytime I look at a new city. These are the first two items that I go to, so I'll show you all those as well. And then if you all have any questions as we go, just please feel free to stop me. So first, we're going to dive right into the audit scope and results. So number one, the city received 3 opinions last week. The first is what we call the prime opinion. It's the financial statement opinion. It's the main opinion that goes in the front of the big long document that you all referred to as the ACFR. And the city received an unmodified opinion. So in layman terms, that's a clean audit opinion. Any entity, any city, government, any governmental agency that undergoes an audit wants to receive an unmodified opinion. Okay, so that's the best of the best. So kudos there. The next is the city received 2 separate opinions. Okay, and these are what we are related to a single audit. So a single audit is when a governmental entity spends more than 1 million federal expenditures. You're required to undergo what we call a single audit. The city actually spent about 1.2 this past fiscal year, so you all were required to undergo a single audit. They seem like a lot of words there. It's a mouthful, but I'll explain them. The first is going to be your report over internal control over financial reporting. So think of how you're actually documenting the funds, how you're reporting the funds, how those are actually reported on the funds, the actual accounting behind the funds. The next is going to be the report on compliance over those funds. So that's, are you spending them in compliance with the federal government? Are you reporting them in compliance with the federal government? And both of those are clean and unmodified opinions as well. So no reportable findings. So that's awesome. Kind of like A+ on the report card there. Woo-hoo. Yes, so good job. These next few slides are going to be what I referred to as our required communications. Just as the auditor, I have to go over these with you all. Number one is going to be your significant accounting policies. So this is something I would recommend you read. These are detailed out in note 1 of the ACFR here. Every city adopts their own accounting policies. We read them, make sure they're up to par, make sure they're up to standards, and noted no variances with GAAP there. Next, the city was required to adopt a new GASB standard. So GASB is the Governmental Accounting Standards Board. So it's the oversight body. They make all the laws and regulations around governmental accounting. There was a new adoption this year for GASB 101, compensated absences. So think of accrued sick and PTO and vacation leave for your employees. This had no material effect on the financials at all. Most cities had already been doing this in the past. GASB really just wanted to make uniform for everyone in the U.S. But like I said, this had no material effect to the city, but it was required that we adopted it, so I did want to let you all know that your financials are up to date with all the applicable GASBs that have been issued as of 9/30/25. And then if you had any unusual accounting policies or any alternative accounting treatments, this is where I would go over those. You all don't, which is a good sign. Next is going to be, so every set of financials is going to have numbers and in there that it's management judgment and accounting estimates. They're not all concrete. Like cash, we can go to the bank and we know exactly what cash is. Well, some take management estimates and judgments. And I've listed those 4 here, so just required to go over those with you all. The first is going to be your accounts receivable and the allowance that you record against the AR. We all know not every single account receivable can be collected, right? So city books an allowance, and that is an estimate. You use historical collection rates. We test that and noted nothing to note there, so that's good. The next 2 are going to be your pension and your OPEB. So those are your retiree benefits. Those come from actuary reports. Those are big estimates. We rely on those actuaries and record those on the financials. And then last is going to be your landfill liability and estimating the future costs of closing those liabilities. And all 4 of those are disclosed in the notes of the financials. Okay. So nothing out of the ordinary with those. This one's going to be the audit adjustments that we recorded. So both of these are outsourced to us. So these aren't really findings. These are just items that we help you all with that I wanted you all to know. The pension and OPEB, we actually outsource those to us. So we help you all with those. And then the next seems like it's complicated, but really it's just helping draft the report. And so that's outsourced to us. And then there were no past adjustments. So that would be if we found an error and then us and the city agreed that it was immaterial, so we just decided to pass on it. This is where I would show those, and we had none of those this year, which is a good sign. And then last is going over the accounting policies. Like I mentioned, there's no matters to report there. Everything is up to par. And then any significant issues that we discussed, there was nothing to report there. And then any disagreements with management, there was none. And so if we had any, I would have to tell you that. And then this, I think we updated this to 40, right? So GFOA achievement, so what happens is we issue the audit, the ACFR, and then you all ship it off to GFOA, which is the Government Finance Officers Association. And they have a special review committee that then reviews the entire ACFR, gives us comments, and then issues a certificate of achievement and excellence in financial reporting. I know it's a mouthful, but the city's actually received this for 40 straight years, which is one of the longest that I've, that's older than me. So that is a long time. Oh, sorry. Sorry to everybody. I didn't mean that as an insult to anybody. But it's a very long time, so that's some kudos to your finance team, and you should be proud to get that award. It'll be 41 once this is submitted. I believe this will get the award as well. But it's always like a year lag before you get your report. So kudos to the city on that. Any questions over the scope and results before I dive into some of what's coming down the pipeline from GASB? No? Okay. So the next, I have 3 slides here. GASB 103, so this is a new accounting standard that's coming down. This is financial reporting model improvements. Believe it or not, they're changing how some things are going to look in the ACFR. This isn't going to affect any of the actual numbers. This is just presentation. So we'll work with Julie and Trina over the summer to go through this standard and make sure that these are reflected. Like I said, it's nothing major. It's just really presentation purposes. And it's the exact same for GASB 104. So capital assets. Right now, all types of capital assets are grouped in one footnote, and they actually want those broken out. So each type of capital asset is going to get its own footnote. So make the financials even longer now. But both of these standards are going to be required for this next fiscal year, fiscal year 26. So like I said, we'll work with your finance team over the summer to make sure that we hammer these out and get them updated in the report. And then GASB 105 is subsequent events. This one is 2 years out, so fiscal year 27. A subsequent event is anything that's happened between the date of the financials, so this was 9/30/25, and the day we issue, so last week. If anything was to happen major, that would be required to be disclosed in the financials. And we already do that for most of our clients. So if you were to issue bonds or buy a new building or anything major that happened that would financially affect the city is required to be disclosed. So this won't have an impact at all, but it will be an actual required written standard here in the next couple of years. So thought you all should know that. And then last, I leave this slide in all presentations, and this isn't like, I'm not saying that we found anything wrong with your cybersecurity or we noted anything, and I'm not trying to scare anyone. Just, this is an FYI, just to keep cybersecurity top of the mind. Every year, we have a client that has a cyber attack. I'm issuing a city tomorrow, actually, that they had a cyber attack this past year, lost a day's worth of accounting, days worth of their GL. And it happened the year before, and you hear horror stories all the time. So just making sure this is at the top of everyone's mind when you're all making your business decisions and doing your due diligence on your cyber security risk assessments. I believe the governor of Texas makes every governmental employee do cybersecurity training, and I believe that includes city council members. So just a plug to make sure everyone's doing that across the city, and not clicking the bait when the emails come through. That's how they get hacked. But just an FYI, okay? Because that is a significant threat for financial purposes. And then last, I'll go a couple slides for our financial overview. So number one is going to be your general fund. This is the main operating fund of the city. It's the main operating fund of any city. And so looking at your unassigned fund balance, this is going to be the first thing any bondholder, debt issuer, anyone auditor goes to and looks at is going to be your unassigned fund balance. And so for the city, it was 14.4 million as of 9/30/25, which was an increase from prior year of about 680,000. And then your unassigned fund balance represents 35% of your your actual general fund expenditures, which is above the city's policy and GFOA's best practice policy. So you're in good shape as far as your unassigned fund balance as of 9/30. And then your second is going to be your pension liability. So this is your TMRS. This comes straight from the actuary report. I've put 3 years worth of data here. You can see how it's decreased over the past 3 years to 5.8 million for your net pension liability. It's about 95% funded. I typically think anything over 80% funded is very healthy. If you look at some of the larger cities, some of these pension funds are not anywhere close to 80%, so I would be very happy with 95% funded. The TMRS one really flows with the market, so if the market's doing well, then typically that's going to reflect a lower liability, and the inverse is true as well. So in the past 3 years, this is on a calendar year end, so the city's as of 9/30/25. TMRS is actually on a 12/31, and so you can tell it's kind of flown with the market over the past 3 years. The stock market has been good in December, so that is all I have. So if I could take any questions, if you all have any.
Great news.
Yeah.
That's good news. Thank you. Any questions? Questions?
Good report.
Great report. I noticed on our agenda bill, it says recommended actions to accept the report. Do we need to have a motion to that effect?
If you want to accept it, you have to have a motion.
I would make a motion that we,
Do you have anything else to add?
No, sir, just making sure you don't have any questions.
Please.
I make a motion to accept the financial report as presented.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, so vote. Thank you for your hard work. Thank you for everyone's hard work. Thank you for the team's hard work. I appreciate it. Thank you. All right, our next item is Visitor Citizen Forum. Has anyone signed up to speak?
Yes, sir, we have two. Katie Capel.
Kaplan.
Good evening, council. I'm Katie Capel. I live at 913 Red Bud Lane, and the birds are back, so I had to come back. We're seeing hummingbirds, and the birders are down on the river, and the birds seem to be accepting the fact that things have changed, but that's okay. So we're having a festival on the 11th, which is apparently one of about 10 different things that you're going to be going to that day. But we have some bird experts that are going to come. Craig Hensley, who's a retired park ranger. Dr. Distel from Shriners is going to talk about water birds. Bear Audubon is bringing some people to talk about why birding is important. And Mark McClellan, who's the head of the Native Plant Society, is going to talk about what you should plant in your garden to get the birds to come to your place. So it's going to be a fun day at that Riverside Nature Center from 11 to 3. We will have a kids' activity to make a little feeder for the birds, and lots of information about what's happening. On the rest of our activities, I last saw some of you at the dedication of the bird blind, which is going full blast now. We are struggling to keep the squirrels out of the feed, but that's everybody's problem. We're working with the Native Plant Society to put identifying signs at some of the 101 species in Singing Wind Park. So that'll be happening soon. And we're encouraging everybody to come out to the native plant sale, which will be on the 18th. So things are good in Birdland right now. There's a photo contest if any of you are photographers of birds. We're going to do that on the 11th as well. So
Good.
thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Katie.
Katie.
George Baruti.
Mr. Baruti?
George Brody, 1616 Glen Road. I'm coming in to talk about something I was a little confused by at your last meeting. Action you guys took. So in light of kind of a conversation I had with Mr. McKinney where I had asked him, why was he running in the first place? And he mentioned something about, he didn't want to micromanage the city and your opponents would likely do that. And then you have a charter provision, 605, that I'm not really sure everybody understands, but your role, of course, is to set policy. And city manager has the role of basically everything under the city manager. You guys hire and fire 2 people, right? But last meeting, you guys took strange action to remove a position from the city, which isn't really in your authority to do so. And I was kind of confused by that. It was the deputy city attorney position, I guess. To my understanding, you have the ability to hand the city manager a budgeted amount. And he actually has the authority to move the money around in the general fund anywhere he wants, based on just the total not changing. When you guys take action to, the charter thing that I was referring to, it says, council shall not take part in the appointment or removal of officers and employees, again, except for those 2, city attorney and city manager. So the way I understand things, the action you guys took last time really had no effect other than to weigh in on something. If you want to shrink the budget, you can do that with an amendment or passing a different budget next time. But and then I wasn't in the room watching his face, but unless you had an arrangement, I didn't understand. And maybe you guys could publicly explain it, but you had a deputy city attorney that you gave the title of interim city attorney, and then you removed his seat when he was in the interim position. I didn't understand how that was supposed to work. So again, as visitors forum, you can explain if you like, but I guess maybe somebody could email me or something. I didn't understand that. Thanks.
You, George. Anybody else?
That's the end of the citizen speakers.
Right, thank you. Next item is the consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda are considered routine. It can be passed with one motion. Any item can be removed from the consent agenda by a member of the council, by staff, or a member of the public. Does anyone wish to remove anything from the consent agenda? Before we have a motion, we have 2 ordinances that have to be read in. Ms. McElhen.
Ordinance number 2026-05, second reading, an ordinance establishing a prima facie speed limit on Olympic Drive, authorizing installation of appropriate signs and markings, containing a cumulative clause, containing a savings and severability clause, providing for a maximum penalty or fine, establishing an effective date, and ordering publication. This ordinance was unanimously approved on first reading March 10th, 2026. Item B, ordinance number 2026-05, second reading, an ordinance establishing prima facie speed limit on State Farm to Market Road 1338 Goat Creek Parkway, authorizing installation of appropriate signs and markings, containing a cumulative clause, containing a savings and severability clause, providing for a maximum penalty or fine, establishing an effective date, and ordering publication. This ordinance was unanimously approved on first reading March 10th, 2026.
I may have heard wrong, but the first one was ordinance 2026-04, and the next one was 2026-05, correct?
Yes, sir?
Thank
Did
you.
I say it?
I don't know. I may not have heard it correctly. Just want to make sure we had it in.
Thank you.
Is there a motion then on the consent agenda?
I'll move to approve items 5A, 5B, 5C, 5D, and 5E of the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, so vote, and it passes unanimously. All right. Moving on to 6A, resolution authorizing the submission of a grant application. Mr. Hornes, I believe might be you?
Yes, sir. Mayor and Council, sorry about that delay. So don't have a presentation for you tonight. We had spoke about this grant opportunity with the Federal Economic Development Administration, where they would consider projects of a certain nature for their implementation grants, which are grants that are between $2 and $20 million. They have two other categories of grants. They have planning grants that are there for the engineering phase of a project. And they have a third category that's transformational, which are from $20 to $50 million in a range. We met with folks from the regional offices of the EDA and discussed different projects considerations. They gave us their recommendations that we should apply for implementation grants. We had one transformational grant that we thought was great. I think every community probably thinks that, as an airport transformational project, but we didn't really get, I guess, a warm and fuzzy feeling. I don't know how best to describe it from them. When we looked at the recipients of the transformational grants, the coalitions were in the hundreds amongst the different entities that would participate. Ours was robust, but we're a smaller town, and so it was in the 10 to 20 range. And so in that vein, we came back before you and asked if we could move forward with a Economic Development Administration grant for the Quinlan Creek Interceptor. So we estimate that project to be about $6 million. The resolution before you here would allow us the ability to apply for the grant. We have 3 development teams that we're asking to participate in that. So the Whiskey Springs Group, the Tybee Commons Group, of which there are members here tonight from Tybee Commons, and then a third, which is Structure Development. Structure Development is a group that is looking to do tax credit apartments on the north side behind Hobby Lobby. So we are negotiating with all 3 of them at this point. We haven't finalized any of the participation agreements as of yet. It's a challenge by itself to talk through with one development team, let me put it that way, when you're trying to work through it, let alone 3 of them to participate together. And so each of them have their own individual considerations. We're at the point now where we're close, I would say. And with that, Mayor, I'll turn it over for you with any questions. I think the recommendation we have for you all is that approve the resolution, if you want to approve the resolution, that provided we receive those participation agreements from the development teams, that we could move forward with the application. the folks from EDA in the regional office, they meet for review of these applications. They said anywhere between every 4 and 6 weeks. So we're trying to move it along because we understand that, time is money for everybody. The process for the application will take about 6 to 8 months. My understanding is that it needs to go to the main office in Washington DC for final approval. Previously, it had been approved at the regional office, so I think it would have been a little faster. And then we just got updates from our staff, which are again preliminary, but the length of the project, it'll take about 18 to 24 months for full construction. So I had earlier put kind of a swag on that at 14 months. But based on what staff is telling me from the engineering office, it's a long stretch. It's all gravity sewer, so it has to be calibrated perfectly. You don't want it to bend the wrong way. And it runs along Quinlan Creek, so it's going to have some, we're going to have to pump some water out as we're working the project. So we have a 6 to 8 month window for the application. We have about an 18 to 24 month timeline for the construction. I would like us to consider, if we decide to move forward with it, to push forward with the engineering. The EIC has said they were interested in participating in some way in the project. We're getting cost estimates from the engineers at this time. And so when we get those back, I think that would be an ask that we would probably bring to the EIC for consideration. So with that, Mayor, I will turn it over.
Question?
So, be prepared at this point, you can go ahead and apply for the grant, even though you got some things to pull together or some more things you gotta pull together.
I would like to make sure that those participation agreements are signed by all 3 of the groups. Two of the groups have, the breakdowns, are Whiskey Springs participation would be 600,000. Tybee Commons would be 600,000. That actually represents the 20% share, because the X factor in this whole thing is the structure development group, because they're applying for a grant through the TDHCA for a tax credit department. So if they don't get the grant from, if they don't get the credits, I don't say grant. So they're kind of the X factor. We've talked to the other 2 development teams. They understand that. So basically it's a benefit to them if the apartments come through. It lowers their portion from 600 down to 400. But to your point, I would like those participation agreements to all be signed before we push forward with an application.
We can approve you to move forward, and you can secure that later.
Yes, sir, you can.
To ask, where are you at right now? Like, how long have you been working on it? 3 weeks maybe now? So, as you said,
Yeah.
4 to 6 weeks,
Yeah, about that long.
halfway.
True.
Okay, whatever.
I mean, I'd love to be able to say we're halfway there.
I was just trying to gauge, since I don't keep tabs on exactly when we start some things in my head, and I'm trying to remember.
So everybody wants to hedge their risk, which I fully understand. And so we're kind of taking some of this on faith, and we're doing our best to push all the information that we know to the development teams. That's the one that's going through the TDHC application is like, well, we don't want to pay for this if some exigent circumstance. And I'm like, sure, I understand your risk here, but you're also asking us to build tax credit apartments in our town. So we're all taking a little bit on faith here. So 75 to 90% of the way there. I would say that.
That's all I needed to know. I'm good.
Maybe.
Jeff, you got anything?
Just for clarification, Michael, you want participation agreements from Whiskey Springs and Tybee Commons, or you want it from all 3 participants?
I want it from all 3 participants, right? If they tell me they're out, they're out. I have some consternation where, this grant is to the benefit of all of us, but it is to the benefit specifically to these development teams, right? And so if they choose not to develop and then say 12 months down the road go, well, here we are, we want to build our stuff. I'm not okay with that. That's not fair to the community. It's not fair to the other 2 development teams. And so we're hashing those pieces out still.
Worst case scenario, the representatives here tonight pay $600,000 apiece.
Yes, sir.
Best case scenario that all three put in $400,000 apiece.
Yes, sir.
I get it.
We do have one citizen speaker.
Let me ask my question first.
Yes, sir.
So the 6 million is the total project cost or just the grant request?
That is the total project cost, so it's amended pricing from the 2022 numbers that we had. So that's in the wastewater master plan, it's shown at $4.7 million. And so updated to today's pricing, that's at 5.2, 5.3. And then in addition to that, there's a 5% grant administration fee on top of all that. And so we haven't been lucky thus far this year on our cost estimates, let's say. And so it is slightly under 6, but we wanted to put 6 because we just haven't been lucky lately. And
Little contingency fund, isn't it?
it's got a little bit of contingency in there, yes, sir.
The answer is the total project
Oh,
estimated.
the total project cost, yes, sir. From
Six,
soup to
not the
nuts,
grant
engineering all the way to the end, yes, sir.
All right, so what I think I'm hearing you say is after we hear the citizen speaker, the staff's recommendation is we adopt this resolution conditional upon those development groups signing participation agreements.
Yes, sir.
All three.
All three. Yes,
Thank you. Who's our speaker?
David Williams?
Mr. Williams.
Members of the council, I'm David Williams, one of the interested parties in the Tybee Commons in this project that Michael's talking about. And it's a federal grant, and we need local participation for 20%. And we've agreed to pay for half of that. We get a letter of credit so that nobody gets stuck in the middle, and any party that is a part of this would have a letter of credit. But, Mayor, to speak to your question, it's my understanding that the other development that's already been approved is firm on their 600. If this multifamily doesn't come together, we are firm on our 600,000. And because we need this to move forward, so we can move forward with a project, and we consider it to be a win-win for everyone involved.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, any questions?
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thank you, Mr. Williams.
Thank you.
Anybody else signed up?
No, sir.
All right. I think I understand what has been asked of us. So if y'all understand it as well, someone make a motion to that effect.
I wrote it down, so I'll make a motion to adopt resolution number 16-2026, allowing for submission of the grant application to the U.S. Economic Development Administration with participation agreements from all three developers.
I'll second.
Jeff, Councilman Harris, I'm sorry. Boy, I never get it wrong, and then I get it wrong in the mic. I apologize. I was getting on my
You're fine,
staff.
sir.
No, when they call you all by your first name, I do, we're not allowed to do that. I think we would recommend that instead of saying all three, that we secure 1.2 million in the 20% match within those participation agreements.
That makes sense.
Right,
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So can you make a motion to that effect?
Sure. So adopt resolution number 16-2026, allowing the submission for the grant application to the U.S. Economic Development Administration with a participation of $1.2 million from our local developers.
Second.
Does that pass muster, Mr. Dush? Thank you.
I like what he's wanting, yes.
Good, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
This is a great project for the community, and I think it's, we got some really great
Thought we'd
developments
never get-
coming, and I think it's great that this worked out with the help of the federal government, so, yes.
Good. Any other discussion? All in favor, so vote, and it passes unanimously. Thank you. Everybody who's been working on this, I appreciate it. Todd, too, thank you for what you've been doing on this. Thank you. All right, we are now to 6B. Mr. Tosh.
Mayor and Council, so Atmos Energy Corporation is the gas servicer for Kerrville, for the residents, both home and company residents within Kerrville. And Kerrville has jurisdiction over all of the rates and services of utilities within its boundaries. The issue is that Atmos is a monopoly. There are no competitors for Atmos, and so that limits our ability to deal with them and come to fair rates for our residents. So we have been a member of the Atmos City Steering Committee, and this is a resolution to continue that membership. That membership gives us some leverage because there's 188 cities within the state of Texas that's in this Atmos City Steering Committee, and they use the funds that they get from the city to work through a fair rate for each city, plus they also address legal, statutory, and rulemaking benefits for the cities. It's based on a per capita rate right now under Texas Municipal League. Kerrville's population is 24,930. They are asking us to spend 0.4, so 4 cents per person to fund that. So that is coming out for our share at $997.20. We would pay that, and we would get a year's service through them to deal with our rates and do all of this rulemaking for us. I think it's a very good deal that we have currently. So I would ask, unless you have questions, I would recommend that you pass the resolution and allow us to make that payment to continue our membership.
Any questions for Mr. Tosh?
Oh, well, I don't have one.
I do.
Go ahead, please.
Just, Mr. Tosh, just 4 cents per person citizens, or 4 cents per person that has Atmos?
No, just citizens. It's not Atmos customers, it's all citizens. So that's how they have structured that, the committee.
Seems like a pretty modest amount. I don't know.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? If not, is there a motion?
I was gonna jump in and make one. I'm so excited. I'd like to make a motion that we adopt resolution number 18-2026.
Second.
There were no speakers, were there?
No, sir.
Motion's been made and seconded by Mr. McKinney. Any discussion? All in favor, so vote. And it passes unanimously. Item 6C. Mr. Burrow, you're up.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. What we have before you is kind of a little bit of a recap of what was discussed in December. Essentially, Stuart Barron, before his retirement, had brought a revision to the 2018 Long Range Water Plan to get moving with a little more reliable substance that we could do now. What that is the indirect potable reuse. And when staff looked at this, we had two options. We had one to go south of the river. The cheaper option was the north portion that council had a consensus to give direction on. What we have before you is the engineering design of that water line, which is going to be clear, we say reuse, really it's a reclaimed water line. Reuse in TCEQ terms has a different terminology. So if you see reclaimed mentioned in this, it's what we all consider reuse. Essentially coming out of the large pond, going to the sports complex pond, and then what we'll do is take it out of the sports complex pond with a small pump station pumped to the Elm Creek discharge. So this is the design of that. Parallel if you recall, the requirement is not there to do a bed and banks permit, but the recommendation is. So in parallel, we're going to do that with a different engineering firm, but this here is for the actual design. And so what we want to do is this and the next item, we're going to couple together. The next item is the water plant filter gallery. We're going to pair those together to submit a grant for water infrastructure bill that is going to be due at the end of July. And essentially have it about as shovel ready as we can. Talking to the engineers at 6S, this design will be able to be accommodated before that July deadline. And so then it just, has us shovel ready for the line itself. For the water plant, like I said, I can talk more at the next one. That'll take a little bit longer, but we want to, combine those together. It's 100% forgiveness grant. We will be able to get reimbursed because both of these contracts would be executed after the July 2025 deadline, if you will. So anything after July of 2025 could be reimbursable. So we're asking council tonight to authorize the execution of a PSA to begin that design of the reuse line to Elm Creek discharge.
I may have misheard, but you said July 2025. Did you mean 2026?
No, so for reimbursement, we can go back to July of 2020, basically a year back from the application deadline.
Thank you.
But thank you for clarifying.
All right, any questions for Mr. Burrow?
This is a great project for us to be doing, I think, so.
Budgeted.
Good part of our
Conservation measures.
conservation measures and water planning for
Yeah.
the future, so this is a big step.
And yes, I heard Councilmember Herberts, it is budgeted. This is, if you look on the budget, it's the raw water supply. We had 500,000 allocated for.
Let me confirm that I heard you say separately, we're also going to be applying for,
The bed and banks permit, so yes, that's the additional discharge out of our wastewater plant. So that'll go through TCEQ.
but that'll be a separate thing at another time.
Yes, we're working on the scope of that right now. If it meets the threshold to bring before you, then we will bring it before you. Basically, based on
I
council
understand.
direction, I think we kind of got our marching orders. We just want to talk with some of the HDR staff that has been working on this and make sure that we've got everything from a public works perspective that we need for that permit.
Okay. Anybody have a question? Everybody understand? Okay. Is there a motion then?
Sir, we do have two citizen speakers.
Didn't realize it. I'm
That's
sorry.
okay.
Who's first?
Gary Wolf.
Wolf.
Good evening. I find this kind of a backdoor approach to bringing up this subject of having treated effluent water and then eventually becoming drinking water in Kerrville. I understand the process. I listened to the December meeting, so I understand you're going to take the water, dump it into the river, run it back through the water treatment plant, and then to the ASR well. But you are eventually, obviously what you're going to be doing is dumping treated effluent water into an aquifer. And that affects more than just the citizens of Kerrville. It's going to affect people in the county and even down from there to other counties. I think there are several questions that have to be raised. These, I hope you don't use my time on this to have these answered. Has TECQ and/or UGRA given certification or permission to do this?
So, no, like I mentioned, this is not a requirement. And Mayor, if you will have me answer.
Go ahead, please.
This is not a requirement. This is a surface water. I know you mentioned aquifer. This is a surface water permit. So right now, our only discharge point is at Third Creek. And then it goes Third Creek into the Guadalupe River. This would be the same as if City of Ingram, Hunt, anybody upstream of us. Right now, Kerrville is fortunate because we are the first in line with the river water. What that's going to do is change to where there's going to be two discharge points for surface water. So we're still going to have to maintain the one on Third Creek. We're going to have an additional on Elm Creek that will flow into Nimitz Lake.
What's the volume per day?
We're projecting 500 per day, but that's, again, that's going to be based off of drought restrictions and our capacity with our existing reuse customers.
Okay, once it goes into the river, is that considered river flow? So therefore, your take, the city's take, that just goes in the total amount? I mean, it's not an additional amount that you're able to take on top of what your contract with Lower Colorado, the river, I forget what authority you're with.
Right. So I'll defer to Public Works on that, but basically, that's the reason we're trying to do the bed and banks permit, is to essentially acknowledge that this is, another discharge point that is, separate from the normal water from the river coming in
Okay, so
from
you have an
Ingram.
additional 500,000
Yes, sir.
gallons a day is what you're projecting?
Yes, sir.
But you don't have that permission yet?
No, sir. No, and like I said, it's not a requirement, but that's why we want to get the permit approval from TCEQ, so
But you
that
don't-
if in fact it ever does become a
So
requirement.
you're going to do this design before you have that approval?
Yes, the design is trying to get the grant application.
Okay.
We won't be able to enter into construction.
I know time is short and all that. I think y'all need to be aware, because a couple of years ago, I went and did a little research on the internet. What is in treated effluent water? And I found several studies, all of them done by PhD chemists. And the pages and pages of chemicals, compounds that are in treated effluent water is mind-boggling. Now, I also know that's dependent on where you're located and what kind of things are around that end up into your water, going into your rivers and so forth. But the fact remains there's a tremendous number of chemicals. Those kind of chemicals that are in there are not taken out by a standard water treatment plant. In fact, you'd have to have a chemical plant to be able to extract these kind of chemicals. And so now that coming into our drinking water supply. And on top of it, interjecting it into an aquifer, a pristine aquifer that's never had these chemicals that we know of put into it before.
I think he said it's going to be surface water, correct, Kyle?
That's correct.
Not back into the aquifer.
That's correct.
You're not taking this I thought that was the plan, to take this.
No, this is not going to be an ASR injection. This is going to be
There's none of
strictly
that
surface
water coming out of the water treatment plant is going to go to the ASR wells.
That's correct. So this will come, from the wastewater plant to the Elm Creek discharge, which will then go to our surface water. So, but to answer your question.
Well, you're going to
and
take
comment-
that surface water and run it through the water treatment plant.
Well,
I mean, the drinking water plant.
I believe I know which chemicals you're talking about. PFAS are a big topic of conversation. We spend a large amount of money for the Calgon GAC system, which is a granular activated carbon. That's essentially why we did that. That's going to take a lot of those chemicals that are just found. I mean, diesel and gas chemicals that are washed off from roadways. That all, I mean, everything is going through that carbon filter and through the rest of the treatment process for that reason.
So how much of that chemicals are extracted or pulled out of there?
I don't have that information, sir.
Pardon?
I don't have that information.
Well, I think this is important. This is important to the people of Kerrville and Kerr County to have this information.
Thank you for being here tonight.
All right, well, I think it's premature for y'all to endorse this tonight. I think you need to have a town meeting and bring this to the people of Kerrville and to Kerr County.
Now,
Thank you.
you don't actually live in the city of Kerrville, do you?
Sir?
You don't actually live in the city of Kerrville, do you?
No, I do not.
Okay.
I live in the exterior jurisdiction,
Thank you.
but I do spend my money in Kerrville,
So do I.
including restaurants,
So do I.
where I get, well, if I sit down and this goes through, that drinking water, my iced tea is going to contain these chemicals.
Yeah.
So I think I have a vested interest in
All right.
this.
Who's next?
George Baruti?
Mr. Broody.
George Brady. So I'm not, he asked some of the questions, so I'm not going to go over those. But in short, this is indirect potable reuse, right? So we're basically taking it and putting it in Elm Creek, which is, I guess, upstream of our water system. And then the theory is we're still getting the water from the same place, and it goes into the water treatment. So we're just putting it upstream from ourselves and recatching it, right?
Yes.
Okay. So the cost of doing this pipe is the only added cost to making this added water source? Is that correct, or is there more besides? I mean, this is just the design cost, or is this, what is this cost?
This is just the design.
Okay, so what's the anticipated build cost, or, I know it's a way ballpark, but do we have a number?
Oh, do you remember what they had?
Okay.
I don't recall offhand.
Okay, that's fine. That would be the question that somebody would probably want to know, or at least I want to know. And then the other thing, the main reason I was even interested to say something about this is everybody knows this is a sort of a controversial subject, right? And whether or not we have our facts straight, the only facts we can get other than what we can find ourselves is whatever you guys present to us, or you present to them through, to us. Because it's so controversial, it would have made a whole lot of sense to PR this thing a lot better than what's going on right now. Because as it stands right now, you have everybody wondering what's going on, and it is potable reuse. I mean, it's indirect, direct, whatever, it's potable reuse, which a lot of people have a problem with until you educate them on the fact of what is occurring everywhere else, which is essentially anybody downstream of us is kind of potable reuse, right? But you have to educate people to get past it. All the writing material about doing these talks about the very first thing you have to do is educate to get past the ick factor. That's the word they use. And we haven't really done that. And nobody has the stomach for it, but you still, pardon that pun, but you kind of have to do that. If you want the citizens to buy off on it and accept this as what we have to do, you have to explain to them, why are we choosing this over, was it a couple years ago, we were all being told our water problems are solved, the Ellenberger, whatever. I don't know what's the reason that's not being used. I assume it's cost, but, these are things that have already been out in the public. Why aren't we educating them before we get to this place? I'm not for or against the grant, but these are the things I think you should ask. And when you're asking for the grant, you probably should be asking and telling you all with knowledge what's the anticipated estimate of total project costs, because design does you no good unless you build it, right? So, thanks.
You? Anybody else?
That's the end of the citizen speakers.
Mr. Hornis.
I might answer just one or two of those questions. So at our February meeting, when our consultant from HDR came in and spoke about the options available to the community, their recommendations were for, from a cost standpoint, from a longevity standpoint, and from what are the firm, reliable sources of water. And so in that meeting, went through a thorough discussion of that. The price that they had, to Mr. Brudy's question, for the construction was $3.1 million for the Elm Creek line, which is 1.6 miles. And that was their recommendation, along with staff's recommendation, as one of the top two. The other option included drilling a well, which we're looking at. The remote well field was discounted because of the high cost, which was well in excess of what the actual plan from 2018 suggested. That plan had said it was somewhere in the range of $15 to $20 million, but taking a harder look at the costs of purchasing all the land to get those water rights, that number exceeded, I think, $75 million. But yeah, $3.1 million for the cost of that project.
It was the cheapest option that we were really looking at.
Cheapest option with the most reliable, steady source of water. That was their terms.
And of course, like downstream, this reuse water is not going straight to the water plant. It's dumped in and mixed and diluted with everything else, which happens to everybody downstream. What I do, that all gets diluted. So it's very similar to most all cities. Very few of us are at the head of the watershed district, so to speak. So, okay.
All right. I will certainly agree with Mr. Bree's comment that we need to make sure the public is educated on what we are attempting to do and why we are attempting to do it. And that came from that workshop, was it February or December?
December, yes, sir.
Anyway, I think the entire community needs to have that discussion, but particularly those people who live near Elm Creek. Have that discussion, and I'll be happy to attend both of those. All right, we have a motion, we do not have a, did we make a motion before the people stood up? We have no motion, so is there a motion then on this agreement?
I would move that we approve the engagement of the professional service agreement executed by the city manager for the Elm Creek Reclaimed Waterline Project.
Is there a second? Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, so vote. And it passes unanimously. Thank you for your input. 6D, Mr. Burrow.
So again, I kind of mentioned the funding aspect of this previously, but to give you an idea of what we're looking at here is design. Same thing, trying to get ahead as much as we can for the grant application. This project was briefly mentioned in some of the previous master plans. After talking with Public Works and looking at the site, the filter gallery has really escalated up the criticality rating. These components are actually some of the original components from the 1979 UGRA plant. So as I mentioned in the summary, if you'll see, some of the items have just become completely obsolete. You can't even find parts for them. They're beyond repair. Being metal in a treatment facility, they are conducive to a lot of corrosion. And after we started looking at this, we found more components that were, like I said, escalating that criticality. So what this is to get that design going, because it's going to take 8 to 10, possibly 12 months, depending on what all we start finding with exploratory, and get try to get the bulk of the design ready for a 30% cost estimate, 50%, whatever we can for this application, to be paired with essentially a water sustainability and treatment grant for 100% funding. The design right now is projected to be covered, if you'll see, it's budgeted for the 2023 water sewer bonds. Same thing with the wastewater treatment plant. We've got the design covered through the bonds. We'll find funding sources for the construction. So that is what this one is before you, is the second part of that grant application.
Any comments or questions for Mr. Burrow? Has anyone signed up to speak?
Yes, sir, we do have one.
Okay.
Jerry Wolf.
Jerry Wolf, I just had a quick question. I didn't understand fully what this was about. But anyway, are the clarifiers, carbon clarifiers, all up and running?
The carbon filters? Yes, sir.
Carbon filters?
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay.
And so the clarifiers have been, the filters, the clarifier have been, this is just the next step in that filtration process.
Okay.
Anyone else?
That's all, sir.
All right. Any comments or questions for Mr. Burrow? If not, is there a motion?
I'll move to authorize the city manager to finalize and execute the professional services agreement.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, so vote. It passes unanimously. Item 6E, I don't believe Ms. Hagemeyer is here, so
I'm going to handle that one tonight, sir. I'm very excited about this one because this is a program that we had in Live Oak, and it was very popular, and it's taken a while to kind of get started. Kelly took the reins of this whole thing and kind of ran with it. And after a lot of discussions, the exterior enhancement grant is turned out to be really successful. There's a lot of application, a lot of people have applied for it. And the first round, if y'all can remember, the first round of it, TERS recommended and City Council said yes to $50,000 allocation for enhancements to the downtown area. And those are exterior, public-facing kind of things, right? So painting, coping, windows, stuff that you can see, not interior to the building. And so there were 42 responses. 24 of those were eligible projects. The 13, I think 13 or 14 were selected. And the funding out of that would have been $198,000 from TERS, of which that would have turned out to be investments of about $2 million. And so a good return. A committee of folks, Kelly, I think Todd Bach was in that, and a few others were a part of that, kind of sorting through those. These were the winners of the grants. Each one of them has a contract and a time frame to get started, a time frame to be finished, and different things that they're looking to get done. It is throughout kind of the whole section of the TERS that the applicants were selected from, and several different types of businesses that were part of that selection process. Landscaping, building, when we say building, it's just paint, right? Mostly. That's kind of a big one. You know, the paint starts to fade, and it's an expensive process. Some structural support. Signage is also a huge one. And a big, and it's a low, I don't want to say low cost, but it has a big wow factor when you get your signage replaced, you know, when it starts to fade. And imagine if it said airing instead of herring, right? That would be that's not great. And so you get that H replaced, and all of a sudden it's, you know, it pops. And so it's a great program. And so TERS met and discussed it, and they had a recommendation they wanted to bring back before the board for this year, is to add an additional $50,000 to the program for this year, and utilize those funds to continue to fund this project.
Question?
Ma'am.
Okay, how many original applications were there?
42?
Okay, and out of those 42, there were 24 that
Met the criteria.
qualified.
Yes, ma'am.
And of those 24, 13 were selected.
Yeah, I think if I'm looking, when I go through that list right there, that's 14 now. So.
So that leaves about 11 or so? And is the goal to try and be able to get all of those who applied
Yes, ma'am.
with legitimate,
Applications.
yes.
Yes, ma'am, that is the case.
Okay, so, yeah,
And then my understanding of it is, we had kind of a robust discussion about it, is not to take new applicants at this point, but continue this into the next year. And folks who didn't apply this year could then apply next year.
Okay.
But utilizing the funds from this year for those current existing applicants that weren't funded.
Okay, and this is really the only project that you've really identified for use of TERS money right now?
Yes, ma'am. The
Okay.
only other use has been matching funds for grants. And so in your consent agenda, we had the CDBG grant from last year that didn't go through, and that's TERS dollars as a match, as $100,000. But this is the first, you know, kind of boots on the ground project where it's not just I mean, it is a match, but it's a little more direct. Yeah.
I understand that at the TERS meeting, though, there's beginning to be a nice list. There really already was a list, but they're kind of maybe discussing priorities on that list and desires.
There were quite a few people who had asked for parking lot enhancements, and there was some discussion about separating those out into like a building grant and a parking lot grant. I think it overcomplicates it a little bit, but some people applied for both. They applied to have a parking lot enhancement and a building, and it was like, well, there could only be one, right? And then this would allow for, the request was that for these folks who had applied for that to also now be eligible to get parking lot enhancements as well as a part of these 11 folks. So there may be some redundancies in there. within these applicants. Because they had asked I think if there was additional funding left over, that those folks who had received a grant for, say, their sign, but they had also put in for their parking to have access to those funds as well.
Well, I do have a little bit of an issue with that.
Okay.
I mean, I would like to see, of all those that applied, if people applied for multiple things, that everybody that applied gets serviced first with the grant money before the second round goes to the same individual.
Anybody who'd already received it would have to wait
Yes.
until all those others were taken care of,
Yes.
and then if there was funds left over, okay, yes, we can certainly run it that way.
Good suggestion.
Comments from Mr. Hornis?
I do have one question. So I think of this separately than the TERS monies that will be used for other projects, like boardwalks, or bricks, restrooms. You know, there's another list that's not necessarily on, business related, like it's not an owner, that it's a city.
Yes, so yes, there is. The TERS board discussed kind of prioritizing projects, I think sort of wishing, theorizing what would be best served with the funding. And so there's some low-hanging fruit in there that's easier, like this project. There's some bigger projects like the boardwalk, which has a, $10+ million price tag, and sort of everything in between. And so if there's, I think what will probably happen almost every time is that trying to leverage TERS dollars against a grant where it's a 10% match, right? So the CDBG grant for $1 million. Because if I go talk to engineering and Mr. Burrow, he's going to tell me that to do a block of sidewalk downtown is going to cost you a pretty penny. Because we'll have to redo drainage, we'll have to redo this, and TERS doesn't have enough funding to cover that cost. But it does have enough money to cover a match, or it has enough money to cover the engineering cost to help with the professional services. Because as we spoke about earlier, and some of the citizens were talking about, what is the cost? Well, we all take swags at it before the engineers fully dig in and give us a true cost. And so if TERS can be utilized in that way, that was part of the conversation as well.
Because I look at it like if we're going to make all these exterior facades look better, that's great. But if we don't do a few of the other things downtown and other places that are in just as bad a need of repair, whether it's the bricks or just signage and things for the garage and things like that, I think it would be nice to fill in some of those other gaps. I know at $50,000 a clip, you're not going to go through the TERS money. Even if you had 5 more requests, you're still going to have, I think, a decent amount in the TERS.
Annually, right now, it's collecting, I think it was $340,000 was the estimate for this year. And so the fund balance at the beginning of this year was $1,009,000. And so at the end of it, minus the 100 for the CDBG and the 50 here, well, I guess plus another 50, so 200. So it would make 170.
Right. So that's great. You're doing a lot with a little. In other words, it's not using the whole 1 million for one thing. It's giving it out to a lot of people, which is a good thing.
It's a hard balance because we don't come deal with small projects.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yep.
Any other comments or questions? Not, is there a motion?
I'll make a motion that we, of the approval of an additional $50,000 being allocated from TERS 1 for the exterior enhancement grant.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion?
We just have a discussion with Chad.
Sure.
Well, if you want Councilman Hughes's proposal, that needs to be part of the
Yeah.
motion.
Okay, then you want to make the
Well, you can
motion?
make it, just say that with second round of funding to go to those who have not received any funding the first go-around.
Okay. So my motion says approval of an additional $50,000 being allocated from the TERS 1 for the exterior enhancement grant, with the second round being set aside first prior than new applications.
Complete the first round.
Complete the rounds that
Yeah.
you originally received before going on to new
For-
applications.
Yeah, for those eligible applicants who didn't receive funding.
Yes.
They would go first, and then if there were
Yes.
redundant requests for different items within their building, yeah, okay.
You still
That's
second?
why I was,
I'll second it.
I'll still, oh, you second it.
Are we clear? Everybody good?
Good.
yeah.
Yeah, so does the motion encapsulate the fact that this $50,000 is going to service the other applicants who qualified for funding the first round but didn't get it? And that once those people get their $5,000, then you can, hash out where the rest of it goes. But it's just important to me that everybody that's in the zone benefits from what's being paid out in the zone. Does that make sense?
Nobody gets to double dip.
Right.
There you go.
Thank you.
Until.
Until the first dips are done.
Yes. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Roll on the cookies for ice cream.
Mr. Hornish, you're laughing at me.
I'm not I'm laughing at Councilman Harris.
Okay.
All the little dippers here,
We have motion and a second, and we've had a lot of discussion. Are y'all ready to vote? All in favor, so vote, and it passes unanimously. Thank you. Item 7A. We going with you, Jeff, or?
Yes, sir. Parks and Recreation Board has 3 vacancies. We had some wonderful applicants. I spoke to them, conferred with Councilmember McKinney, who is the interview team with me as well, and I make I make a motion, good gosh almighty. I make a motion to approve or appoint Mark Armstrong, Jessica Kearns, and Laura Sutter to the Parks and Recreation Board.
A motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor, so vote. And they are hereby appointed. Thank you, guys.
Making some movements over here, Jeff?
Hush.
All right, do we have any items for future agendas? I'm going to repeat, as I discussed earlier, I would like a update on the Louis Hayes Park project, and that should be at our next meeting. We talked about it last time. Any others?
You said it in the meeting a while ago, we probably need to have a public town hall about water.
Happy to do it.
Future agenda for a workshop is a town hall for
Right.
water, and we'll be happy to attend with you as well.
Anything else?
Nope.
All right. Go ahead and adjourn the meeting at 7:43.